What everybody's been waiting for. Yellowstone season number 5 is back. It came back Sunday night, and we watched it, and we've actually watched it multiple times. But we are going to talk about it a little bit, give our opinions, let you know what we thought about it. First episode of this season was titled 100 Years is Nothing, The Sting of Wisdom. Season 3, they did the big cliffhanger, you know, where everybody got blown up and shot, and it's kind of was the cliffhanger too. Then they came back and
nobody died really, or nobody.
Yeah, nothing serious.
Yeah.
Fixed what they needed to fix through season 4.
Well,
but
well, sort
yeah,
of.
they the problems that they did solve, they created 2 more for everyone.
Yeah, very much.
But then so season 4 had their cliffhanger. Season 4 ended with Beth went to the prison to find out about who caused the season 3 finale, all the shootings. And
well, she went for a conjugal visit with the guy. I think she was planning on killing him.
Yeah, because she thought that he was the one who set it up.
Right, but he said Jamie did it.
So she found out that, yeah.
Of course, then she went to Jamie, and Jamie was like, no, my dad did it. I did go to the prison, but my dad did it.
Right. Rip and Beth get married because she wanted to be married because...
She wanted to be married before she went to Jamie about him, because she thought he did it. And so she wanted to be married because that way if she killed him and had to go to prison or whatever, I guess she felt like, or if he killed her, her life was full.
Right. So she didn't want to go out without Rip as being the other half.
Yeah.
And most people think the better half of her, but... Because everybody likes Rip. Well, everybody likes Beth, too. Yeah. She is...
She's very mean and ruthless.
Yeah. But she gets the job done for what they need. So Beth, then she goes to Jamie and gives him that ultimatum of... she gives him some options, I guess.
Sort of.
Yeah. Which the big one was for him to kill his dad. Yeah. And he goes through with it.
Yeah.
But the dad kind of knew it.
He was packed and ready to go.
Yeah.
I don't know how he knew, but he did. Maybe he called him or something. I don't know.
Jamie takes the dad's body to the train station, which is where they take everyone to dispose of. And Beth knows about it.
She's waiting on him.
Yeah, and she takes pictures of him to not blackmail, just to have
insurance.
And I saw some of, reading a lot of the Facebook groups and some of the conversations people were having about it. One of the conspiracy theories is that Jamie set it up. Him and his dad faked it.
His death?
Yeah, and that he's not really dead. It wasn't him in that bundle that they threw over, and it was just to set up.
But they were there by themselves at his house, so I don't think that's true. But and he's too upset about all the... Well, we'll get to that part, but in the new stuff, in the new season, so.
Yeah, I don't know. And another one was like, well, what kind of insurance really is that? Because...
He knows about all their
Right, all he has to do is say everything they've done.
But the problem is then he goes to prison as well, because he did a lot of that with them.
Right, but even if he doesn't do anything, and she just tells, well, they can't go look over that hill for the bodies, because now you're like, well, okay, we've got hundreds of bodies. That'll just open up an investigation into everything. Yeah, and Jimmy and his fiance, they left to go to, because Jimmy's going to 4 Sixes, and hopefully we get the spinoff sometime this year, or I guess it'd be 2023 now by the time any of that gets done. And Mia, who's Jimmy's ex, she is standing there on the side of the road at her truck is. They drive by, so she's
upset that
we find out Casey and Monica that Monica's pregnant. That she's having a baby. And Beth,
Casey goes up on the mountain, does his weird stuff with his
takes the ayahuasca and the retreat. And
I don't know what you call it. But anyway, he has like a vision of them ending. I don't know what that means.
He never really explains the full details of what it meant.
Yeah. I don't think, maybe he didn't know. I don't know.
And Beth, she gets fired from Market Equities, which was...
For corporate espionage. It had to do with the whatever, I can't think of her name, but the girl getting arrested and stuff.
Oh yeah,
because she told
John's girlfriend.
She kind of set all that up, the press and stuff.
Yeah, and she ends up getting sentenced to 8 months.
In the end, To begin with, it was like life or
they were
14 years or something. I don't remember. It was a long sentence.
Yeah, originally I think they were threatening life.
Yeah, but John went to the judge and
got it
reduced.
Called in a favor.
Yeah.
So, and John announces that he's running for governor, or the current governor, which Linnell, she endorses him, comes out. Because at the end, Jamie thought that they were going to, part of the plan was that they were going to announce him.
Yeah, right.
So he kind of gets blindsided by that on the stairs at the announcement.
But they know they can't trust him.
Right.
So.
And that's how season 4 ended.
Yeah.
Well, now season 5 opens up with, jumping up 8 months later.
Yeah, we do a time hop, I guess.
And we find out that John is elected governor.
Yeah. Yeah, it opens up with election night.
Linnell becomes, is she a congresswoman? I think that's what she gets elected to.
Or is there a senator?
I don't remember.
Anyway.
John gives his little announcement speech that, he's, because he's definitely not a politician. He's not there to play the game. He, what's he say? That he's not progress. He is the wall that progress
he's the opposite or whatever.
He's there for the land.
Yeah,
for
his.
Yeah, technically his land, his farm, his.
But I guess he kind of helps with fighting, everybody's
that's going to benefit. Because they don't like all these, which he mentions, New York and California, all these people coming in. So one of his plans is to raise or double the taxes on non-residents and add more sales tax to non-residents and just make it really expensive if you're going to come there. And for honestly, most of the people that probably have second homes there and visit there,
maybe,
it's not going to hurt them. They can afford it because John doesn't. He, when it opens up, he's sitting in like a little bathroom area.
It was very odd. Yeah, he was in a bathroom.
Just meditating, being quiet.
Just sitting by himself.
Because he really doesn't want to do this, I think, anyway.
Yeah.
But he knows it's probably the only hope they have. So his opponent calls him and, congratulates him, who was Scott McMullen.
Yeah.
He concedes.
Yeah, then he does a speech conceding.
Yeah, conceding. They turn on the TV and see him.
Yeah.
But in it, that's what they kind of reveal that we know the history of John and his family, and he's a 5th generation Montanan. So Casey would be 6 and Tate would be 7. So we know there's a full 7 generations. So now it can, it's going to end anyway at the end of the season, my guess. But that his family, landed there 6 years before the state became a state. So they've been there the entire time. The guy that was running against him, Scott McMullen, he's only been there 9 years. So I think Beth makes a comment about him going back to New York.
Yeah. Him and his kids or something. Yeah. I don't know. So just an insight, and then I could be totally off the wall, but and going off of, and I don't remember if this was in episode 1 or episode 2, so if you haven't watched episode 2, I might be giving some away, but,
there's a whole bunch of spoilers here. If you haven't watched it, don't listen to this.
That's true.
Go watch it and then come back.
She has a conversation with Carter. Beth has a conversation with Carter because he calls her mom, and she says something about, I'm not your mom or whatever, but, and I haven't heard anybody else say this was just me thinking, but, thinking about Tate, I don't know if he's the person to take over the ranch.
Right.
But Carter, I feel like he's kind of a rip. I realize that he's, but he says he wants to be John.
Right.
And I think that was in last season, but he said he wanted to be John. If she adopts him, he would technically then be family. So they might end up adopting him, and then he would be the 7th generation.
That makes sense. I mean, I
mean, him and Tate could do it together, I guess. They're both the,
right.
But
Yeah, and probably if you go back and watch a lot of those episodes, there's probably a lot of hints. Because I know all of Taylor Sheridan's stuff,
Yeah.
everything after the fact, he always foreshadows everything
Yeah.
with
Well, that's
a
what I was
lot of
thinking of
hints.
him saying that, especially more so than Beth in his conversation, but him saying, I want to be him when I grow
Right,
up.
right.
So,
So it could happen.
yeah.
I would like to see that happen. I mean, I like Tate. And obviously, the actor that plays Tate, he almost looks like a completely different person this season.
No, that's Carter. You're saying the
Or
wrong names.
Carter. Yeah, I don't like Tate.
Yeah.
Tate's a whiny little baby, along with his mom. Monica, I don't like her.
Well, she raised him.
Right. I think a lot of what happens in this episode, I think a lot of it is to try and Taylor Sheridan's doing it to bring Monica back into the good graces of the viewers.
But the family, the viewers,
yeah,
okay.
As far as him writing it, the way he's writing it.
Okay.
Because a lot of people don't like her.
Yeah. She's definitely not my favorite character.
Yeah.
I don't dislike her, but she's not my favorite character. That's for sure.
And, Rainwater, he's definitely has a little bit of mixed feelings about what's going on.
Yeah, when John gets elected, he was like, good for the land, but not good for us.
Yeah.
So
I guess that's what he should be looking out for at first is, what's good for the land. Because his final goal is to take it back from John, from the family. And if what he's taking back is nothing but airports and resorts,
then what's the point?
Right.
Yeah. But makes it a little bit harder to take it back from him with him being governor, I guess. So.
And everybody in this episode, who are the antagonists against John and the farm, is Rainwater and his lawyer helper friend.
Yeah, she was not happy. I don't know her name, but she was not happy.
Blue Thunder, Angela Blue Thunder. Yeah, Carolyn Warner's upset.
Yeah, she threw her glass. Yeah. Said some words.
Tired of playing with all these hillbillies.
Yeah, well, that wasn't an exact phrase, but yes.
But even then, and I think, never to criticize Taylor Sheridan's writing, but it seems like everybody, it's obvious that they're calling it out, that the Blue Thunder lady calls out Jamie is the weak link in this. Carolyn Warner, when her and the attorney standing there watching them on TV, they can tell by the expression on Jamie's face at the inauguration that he's the weak link.
He's not happy with
saying that he should be happy with this, because in most politics in the world, he would be next to the throne. He would be the next governor,
right?
Maybe not directly behind John, but he's a Bush. He's a Clinton.
Right. He could eventually.
The family is in there now.
Which means they're all going to try to get him on their side.
Right. That'll probably be the big push for this whole season, as to how they can use Jamie
see if he's going to turn on them too. We'll see. And
he always has. He's never been loyal to anything.
No, but he's afraid of Beth, though.
Right.
So we'll see.
And then the episode has, Beth. There's a flashback scene. It looks like she's dreaming the way they end the scene with her waking up, and then the way she reacts afterwards. But in the flashback scene, it's back when she's 18, about to go off to college.
Yeah.
She asked Rip out on a date, which he's just Rip. He's hardworking, just in there. Yeah, simple Rip.
It was what Digging Post.
Yeah.
Or making post holes, I guess.
But yeah, she's just always mean to him. Notice, that's what young Rip, he's wearing a light colored hat. It's like a little brown, because it gets all
very dirty. He tries to clean it, but didn't get clean.
But now, he always only wears black.
I noticed Carter has a white hat as well. So I don't know if you have to graduate to the black hat or what the deal is.
Yeah,
but
he'll have his transformation sometime this season, probably. Or, well, it depends how many seasons they go. I would like to see them do a few more after this, but I imagine Taylor Sheridan wants to wrap it up somehow on top.
Maybe, but maybe he'll decide to do more.
But they're filling in all the gaps now, which they did 1883, and we watched that, and we did podcast episodes on all of those episodes.
Yeah.
And then now 1923 comes out next month, I think December 13th. 16th, somewhere in there. I don't remember the exact date. So he's filling all the gaps of the family that we're gonna find. So I don't know if he's gonna just shift to more of that type thing, or if he's gonna keep taking it forward in the future.
Because I feel like
either
that
way.
one could go on. Obviously, the other,
Right.
can't. But well, I don't know. I felt
don't
like
know.
they
You could
could have gone with 1883 a little bit further as well.
Right.
But
Yeah. Well, that's a 40-year jump. So there's a lot of things because
right,
most of what we've seen happen Yellowstone time has only been probably what 5-6 years.
yeah, it's not a lot of.
Well, how old was Tate when season 1 started?
I don't know.
He was just little, but
Yeah,
and he's what now? 15, 14, 15. Not old enough to drive,
right.
but
Clearly,
almost old enough to drive. He could drive, but
yeah,
he's not legally allowed. But,
yeah.
And in the flashback, yeah, we get to see because they go in the bunkhouse and you see all the hands in there, but you see a young Lloyd,
Yeah.
and it looks just like him.
Yes.
But then, yeah, come to find out, didn't figure it out on my own, but yeah, on out of the Facebook group, somebody mentioned it, and we looked it up. That he's played by Forrest Smith, who Forrest Smith plays Lloyd in.
Yeah.
He's the regular Lloyd in the real time,
Right.
or current time, and so his son actually played the young Lloyd in the flashback scene. So at first, I was just kind of like, it's just either they cast it, somebody looks like him, or they did a little bit of CGI type thing.
Yeah, I
But,
wasn't sure what was happening because you could definitely, since we were like, oh, that's Lloyd, but,
Yeah. And then so Beth and Rip go out on their date to the bar, and you get to see that Beth was how she is now at
Pretty
18.
much.
Yeah, she's real manipulating and flirting to get what she wants, messing with the bartender, and she keeps explaining to Rip how real life works and how things happen, and he just doesn't understand what she's telling him.
Yeah, he keeps saying, what are you saying?
Yeah. So it doesn't end very well. So yeah, they take off, or he takes off. He leaves her with the truck, gives her the keys, and
Well, it's her Jeep, I think. I think that's her vehicle. They had.
Well, she rode back, didn't she?
She had her Jeep.
He
He gave the all the other people, the cowboys, come in and they see him.
Right.
And they offer him to go in with him.
And he takes their truck and they ride together.
Right.
But when they come back, is she driving?
No, he's driving, but they're in her Jeep.
Oh, okay. The other guy.
Yeah.
One of the other
I don't know
farmhands.
who it was, but yeah.
Yeah, and then her and him climb in the back seat.
Yeah.
In front of Rip. Yeah, and she makes sure Rip sees him because she gives Rip a look as he's standing there.
Yeah.
So just another manipulation.
I feel like that guy was brave, considering.
Oh yeah,
John's daughter.
Yeah, everybody you would think would just avoid her.
Yeah.
Yeah, then that's where I guess Beth wakes up, or it looks like she was waking up from a dream, but the way she's acting, she immediately goes in there and finds Rip and apologizes to him.
Yeah. Which he's still like, Beth, what are you talking about? What's happening? What did you do?
She was just having a little guilty conscience.
He's always confused about what she's doing. Yeah. And he just laughs when he's just like, whatever.
But you know what they did? Everything he did in his life and what she done in her life, I mean, it brought them to this point as to who they are.
Yeah.
Imagine if she was a little nicer and he was a little less gullible or a little less.
Yeah, he says that. That's who we, kind of thing.
And then we find out, that John has been gone for a while.
Yeah, on his campaign trail.
Yeah. And Rip, doesn't like it. He thinks it's not good for the ranch.
Yeah.
Or for John. We find out in the ride over that who's in there is John and Beth and Jamie, and they're talking about, I guess, their plans, and John is a little upfront about that he's for the ranch and not as much for the people, I guess, of the state or what's happening. Which would benefit the people, and he says that in front of the driver, which
Jamie says they've signed an
NDA.
Yeah, so they can't talk about it anyway, but...
And then the driver agrees with him, and that's what he makes the comment. Says, "Yeah, if I had your ranch, I would be doing the same thing."
Yeah.
And so John wants him to be his driver from then on.
Yeah, he's like, make sure he's always my driver.
Because John is all about loyalty.
That's true.
But then in that we find out that because Jamie's worried that all the changes that John's going to be making, the ranch isn't going to be able to afford to survive.
Yeah.
As to how much they lose. And Beth throws out a few things that they're doing to, generate revenue. And one of them is that she's charging the campaign $1.5 million for the inauguration party at the ranch.
Yeah, Jamie says you can't do that. There's a lot of
shady.
They're already starting with some shady stuff.
So they have this big celebration at the ranch.
Yeah, all the cowboys come. Well, they don't sit down to dinner. They decide that's not their thing. They go out and do cowboy stuff. I'm not really sure what the game was they were playing with, roping each other, but
anyway. It looked like cowboy jousting. Yeah.
But then they end up dancing with women. I don't know where they get these women that just happen to, I guess, from around that were invited to the Yeah. But
I don't know how you get invited to one of those. Which, I mean, I guess because the other farm or ranch it was there,
that's true.
Bar M.
Yeah.
All of those guys were there, so I don't know how many people they would bring. But then it's probably all of the who's who of the ranching community.
Yeah. Well, we might find out more about Bar M later, right? Too. That might be why they brought that in. So
we find out, I guess, that John, even during the swearing in ceremony, that he
hesitated, a lot.
Almost had a stroke moment. It looked like.
Yeah, Beth had to go, hey.
But I think he's just real reluctant to want to take the position. But he definitely doesn't want to be a part of the politics side of it. Mm-mm. He's there in pretty much in name only to make sure that nobody, steals his ranch.
Yeah.
The former governor,
Linnell,
she mentions to him about because he's not running for a second term. So there's a lot of freedom in the fact that he's a one-term person, that he doesn't have to worry about re-election, worry about all that stuff, donors and everything.
Yeah.
He can get some, and she says that, he can build a legal wall around the state to protect it from, which is what I think he's doing with the raising the taxes on the non-resident, all the non-resident stuff.
Before, when they're bringing in all the stuff for the inauguration celebration at the ranch or whatever, the cowboys go out, or they're getting ready to go out and do stuff, and Rip tells them to shoot the coyotes and wolves, but not the bears. What did you tell them to do with the bears?
Just to, I guess, run them off.
Okay, scare them or
because I guess it comes down to the tags. I don't know.
Yeah, something about they tag them or check them or something. They said it was illegal to kill the bears.
And you can, I guess, only do the coyotes and wolves if they're an immediate threat to the calves, which I guess they have been. And it's what do they call it? Not is it calving season? Is that what they said?
So I guess that's why they were going out looking for them. I didn't understand because it was just kind of random that they threw that in. But I guess in the next episode you found out. Kind of why that was randomly thrown in.
Because I guess that's where they make the bulk of their money, their revenue from, is cattle,
right,
and a few other things. But now they're
doing the horses,
they're getting into the horses,
right?
So there's quite a bit of money in that too. But
it says Jimmy finds out when he sees the checks. Yeah. He's like, oh.
So then it jumps to Casey. They're chasing horse thieves,
yes.
Which is kind of a flash. In my opinion, kind of a callback to, well, not really a callback, but it's kind of similar to the scene of James Dutton, him and the other deputies chasing the horse thieves.
Yeah.
In it technically wasn't 1883; it was 1893 because it was supposed to be 10 years after 1883 happened. It's after they're settled, and he's got a badge on, and they're all deputies, I guess, chasing horse thieves.
No, they deputized themselves, I guess.
Because they have a little bit of a shootout type battle. And they string up some of the, or one I don't remember if it's one or two of the horse thieves after they catch and shoot them. They string them up and hang a sign on them about horse thieves.
To make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where he ends up getting, I guess, shot.
Yeah.
Appears to die at the end of that scene. But we don't know. They kind of left it up.
We'll have to find out when
if they reveal
starts.
it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, eventually they will.
Yeah, well, they'll tell the story of it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be, that might be the very end.
But we know he's not in 1923. His brother is the main character in 1923, who is Harrison Ford is playing his brother.
Okay.
Who now runs the ranch, or is the head of the ranch. Okay. And his John, which is James's son, is now an adult, and he is helping run the ranch, or he's the Casey of.
Okay. But anyway, they're chasing the horse thieves at the Canadian border,
right? Yeah, and they're trying to get away across the border, and the Canadian Mounties are on the other side, and they kind of get into a back and forth with them.
Well, one of the thieves says, "Which side do you want to be arrested at this point? Right. Which side do you want to be arrested on?" And so they run to the Canadian side, but Casey runs them back.
But in the U.S., stealing a horse, that's a federal crime in the U.S., I guess. So,
maybe not.
Yeah, Canada, a little slap on the wrist, probably.
Yeah, because that's what he said. They didn't seem too worried about being in prison on your side. So he ends up getting the thieves and the horses back, though. But
and I guess they just did this a whole scene, which they do some. Taylor Sheridan writes stuff like that for Casey all the time. We'll see little story pieces, and I think it's just to show that Casey, what he's actually doing for work.
Yeah,
he's actually out,
right? Because he's
doing his job.
Whatever he is, the
livestock.
Yes, livestock commissioner. Yeah. So,
but to me, it doesn't make any sense that he would be that far away, especially if he's the lead, if he's the boss. All of these other
Why would somebody else not be? Taking care of
considering, that. Considering, the Monica's 8 months pregnant.
That seemed kind of minor. To be,
because she's he calls her, and she's going into labor.
And he makes a comment, but he makes a comment that's 3 weeks early though, so maybe that's why that it wasn't like it was her due date or right there, So he makes a comment, but to the fact that was 3 weeks early, which isn't that early.
Right, but it is a little unexpected,
right?
We talked about Rainwater and Angela Blue Thunder. Yeah, at the inauguration, she made the comment, it's slave rules for you now, and it's all your fault, because she's not happy with any of what's happening. Which she's the Native American version of Beth, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably true.
That's how Taylor Sheridan writes all of the powerful women in the show. They're just mean and aggressive. But
a lot of times that's true, though.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
Always.
Not always. But a lot of times, if you're dealing with corporate women, they got there because they were. Maybe not as much.
But usually most corporate men, too. Pretty much.
Well, that's true. But theirs is usually a little different, though. I don't know. You don't see the mean and nastiness as much on some people, on some of them.
Some people just don't find it as aggressive. If a man is that aggressive, they don't see it as being that aggressive.
That's true.
A woman appears to be, if she's being aggressive, it's just she's being aggressive.
Yeah, that's true.
But like if you look at Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or any, Steve Jobs, any of these they supposedly were, they demanded a lot of other people, and they weren't the nicest people.
Yeah.
They expect a lot. Yeah, James cancels the airport project.
John.
He does everything he pretty much promised that he was going to do, and that's what got him elected.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, was it Jamie said that it was going to set the state back 30 years after he named all his stuff that he was going to do, and Beth said, well, that's a pretty good start. The plan is 100.
He thinks they're definitely going in the wrong direction. Yeah, Beth and Jamie, they definitely bicker back and forth like a brother and sister, like you would expect. Not 40-year-old man and woman.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's a little not. Most siblings don't fight quite like that, though, with
Uh,
that much hatred and aggression.
yeah, no. But I was gonna say most siblings that have that much hatred for each other aren't
Real
they are
close, I guess.
they're not
That's
around
true.
each other.
I mean,
They
because my siblings and I have fought by
right,
all means, but I don't know. It's not like that.
right. But if you were with them, if you were that aggressive or upset with them, if you all had that kind of relationship, I just imagine you wouldn't ever be together. You would. It's not
That's
like
true.
this where they're together almost
Well, that's
daily.
because they kind of
Right,
have to
have
be
to.
together. Yeah. Or
So
they
they
probably wouldn't. They just wouldn't meet up. I mean, because like for us, we just would be like, Thanksgiving, nope, not coming. Well, but you still have that factor of your parents, though,
yeah.
that you go to see them. So they're that middle, the person that brings it together. But if
you
then once they're gone, I
right.
guess then you
Yeah,
wouldn't
you would try
necessarily.
and tolerate the sibling for a little while
Yeah.
for the
Or
sake
you
of the
just do it
parent.
at different times, I guess,
Right.
that you go see them. But
But then the parent always has to fall into that parental role of, telling
bringing
you all
your
to get
kids
along, be
together.
together. It's like
Yeah.
John does when
With
he
the
pours her a
drink.
drink.
Yeah. And he's
Or
like, give your.
yeah,
Give your brother a drink.
and
She
I
says
will
no.
not.
So he just gives him his and says, okay, pour me another
Yeah.
one.
But see, to me that's just petty. So
Yeah. I mean,
um
yeah, stuff like that's kind of just dumb. Just give him a drink.
yeah. And Rip, he's been in a pretty foul mood since all of this has started. Like I said,
Well,
because
everybody's gone. He doesn't have his people.
right,
Beth's been gone too, and John's gone, so he doesn't have him to consult with what to do. It's more of he's running the ranch now because Casey's not there, so it's him
right.
running the ranch. So
Yeah, because John mentioned in the car that he took over the ranch when he was 34,
yeah,
and that the next 30 years, he said never been spent a night away from the ranch.
yeah,
So he's always there. So Rip, pretty much most of his life, yeah, has been with John.
right. As his father
Yeah,
figure, pretty much, and so now he's gone, and
yeah, and at the inauguration party celebration, yeah, you see Rip hiding up on or not hiding, he's just kind of overseeing the whole thing from up on the hill in the grass.
yeah,
And Beth goes and sits with him, and they have their little talk about Rip. Compares it to when Nero was playing the fiddle while Rome burned. That he's too busy doing all of these other little detail things
yeah,
while the city is burning around you, and I guess that's how he feels that the ranch is. The ranch is it's burning right now. It's on fire. We need to be doing something, and he thinks what John's, I guess, doing
wasn't.
isn't going to work. It's ultimately going to cause him to lose the ranch.
Yeah, and I feel like Rip doesn't get included in all of the politics stuff and knowing what's going on
Right.
unless John just feels like, which, I mean, no use in burdening him if he doesn't need to because he's got other stuff to take care of.
Right.
Unless he just needs him to go help him do something, he doesn't get him involved in all of that. So,
And I don't know how much Rip thinks. I think Rip's a really intelligent guy, but I don't. I think just because of how his life has been and everything he's always done, he always thinks that problem solving is one step
yeah.
right here. If this person is a problem, you bash him in the head with a crowbar. If this is here, you shoot them. If this is this, you punch them.
Yeah.
It's never a 3-step process
Yeah.
to getting to a goal. It's always immediate. Right now, how do we fix this?
Yeah.
And I think John is playing chess a little more. He's thinking 5-6 moves out.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely how Beth, I think, operates.
Yeah.
And you can see that in last season when she was making phone calls about setting up the stuff with the protesters and making phone calls to New York, to the newspapers, and just things that she's sticking in place that are caught, that when things happen, all these other dominoes fall.
I feel like it's kind of odd with Beth and Rip being together. They work well together because he's just like lets her do whatever, lets her be
Right.
her. But at the same time, she knows pretty much nothing about running the ranch, I guess, as
Right,
far
no.
as. But then
Well, she's commented that when John dies, she would sell everything
because
and build a resort, have them
Yeah,
Four
that
seasons on it.
she's doing it for her dad.
Right.
But so she agrees as far as the progress thing. She kind of is on the same page as Jamie with some of that,
Right.
but at the same time is there for her dad. She's just
Right.
doing what he wants. But yeah. So then if you do that, what happens to Rip's life? Because that is Rip's life. He's
Right.
always been there. He's always so. But that's why I feel like Rip only sees the ranch. He doesn't see. I mean, he has stuff. He understands stuff going on outside the ranch, but I mean, that's his focus. That's his only thing that he knows
Yeah.
about. I mean, that he really knows about, I guess. And whereas she sees the other world
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I mean, as far as John, like I said, that she's doing it just for John.
Right.
But she's loyal to him. But there's a little pushback between her and John sometimes.
Sometimes.
She disagrees, or he has an idea and she'll question it or say, well, how about this or this? And Jamie is kind of that same way. But Jamie sometimes will say he'll do it and then doesn't do it. Jamie's just not as loyal as Beth is. But none of them are as loyal as Rip. John even pointed out that Rip, John will tell him to do this or get this done or do this, and Rip never questions, never does anything. It's just like, all right,
well, but
are.
It's a little different relationship too, though. That he's his boss.
Yeah, but even with the boss, most would still question. If he told Rip to go kill LLoyd, Rip would walk out there and shoot him today.
Maybe, but I think he might need an explanation for that one.
I don't think he would. I think Rip is 100% and would do whatever for John.
Well, I just feel like Lloyd was from the beginning with him too, and Lloyd's taught him a lot of stuff.
Well, I mean,
I was
saying that
but
more
I see
as the far extreme example.
Yeah. Well, I feel like he wouldn't say. He might just say. He might ask him though what's going on or something.
Right.
I feel like he would. I don't know, because
it's like I don't think he would have ever continued with Beth or married Beth or done any of that without John's approval when he talked to her.
Oh yeah, and Beth knew that too.
Right.
Which is why Beth went and asked him.
Right.
Instead of him asking, because he.
Right. Well, he kind of did.
After the fact, a little bit.
After John already knew about it.
Right.
At the horse show.
Yeah.
And they're both roundabout way of having a conversation. Neither one of them actually said anything, but they both knew what the other one was meaning to say in what they were saying, and he got his blessing. But Casey, he calls Monica, like we said, find out she's going into labor, and she leaves to meet him at the hospital. And
he leaves too. He says he's leaving
he's
to meet calling her. Yeah.
Halfway. And they're driving, and it's dark and you can't see, and then as soon as you see that bison and buffalo start to walk out on the road, you're like, all right, there's going to be a big wreck. And then you see the guy in the other truck, fumbling for his Doritos, I think is what he was eating.
Which I'm not sure it was his fault, though. I feel like it was all her fault because she swerves in
to miss the bison, but
when she was in labor, so she was having lots of pains, which Tate kept saying, let me drive, or don't you want me to drive? Right. And she says you can't drive, and he's like, well, better than you.
Yeah. And if you think about it, all of this, what we're talking about, providence of things happening and them coming together.
Yeah.
That guy had to leave where he was and be driving the exact speed that he was to arrive at the bison at the exact same time that she was driving the speed. Yeah. If she'd have drove 2 miles an hour slower.
If they'd have stopped. And pulled over.
Or if Tate would have been driving. Yeah, if she would have said, okay, pull over, Tate drives, and then they get back in. That guy would have been long past. Well, that guy probably would have scared it off out of the road.
Maybe, yeah.
Before they would have ever even got there.
Right. Or, I don't know if they do it out there, but we flash our lights if something's in the road or happening or something. Just like there was a wreck yesterday. People flashed their lights at me. Hey, just so you know, something's happening.
So, yeah, that's what they say. They ended up winning the unlucky lottery.
Yeah.
Because the timing felt perfect to have the accident. And then, then they have
what
bad
happens,
accident.
unfortunately. But
And then it jumps to when John sees Carter again. Yeah, that's what he said. He realized he's grown up, and I think in one of the interviews with Rip, that's what he says. He's like 6'1" now, so it's not the little pudgy little kid that he was. And John makes a point to tell him to quit eating the fertilizer.
Yeah, I wonder if they had to throw those in just because he had grown so much, because that probably wasn't something that
probably
he had originally put in.
Because
and then he sees him, he's like, "Oh, we're gonna have to comment about this."
Watching it, they're gonna It's kind of like any TV show, like on Roseanne when they replace the daughter.
Oh yeah, they gotta make a comment,
a little joke, and then everybody's like, all right, now that they address it, now we can accept it and move on.
Yeah.
Because this is supposed to be 8 months later, but by looking at him, it looks like it's
2 years.
Yeah. So kind of like the on Stranger Things, they took like a 3 or 4 year break between seasons, and the kids were supposed to be playing teenagers, and now most of them are in their mid-20s, still playing like high school kids. But as long as they call it out most of the time, once the show makes a joke of it or points it out, then usually people accept it, and it's not as big an issue.
Yeah,
this does it definitely. John says it reminds him how much little time he has left. So, which I think is another foreshadowing thing, because that was been my theory that John's dying this season.
No, stop saying that. But I mean, I guess that could be.
I mean, he survived a lot so
no,
far.
I think he won't die till the end, though.
Yeah, not the end of the season. The end of the series. He'll definitely die at the end of the series.
Well,
maybe they go an episode after his death.
Kind of, yeah. That might be true.
Kind of like, spoiler alert, how they did in This Is Us. At the very end, they do the death of everybody. Not everybody, but how they tied it up.
Yeah,
it wasn't like the finale.
Yeah.
But I think maybe that's how. John might not die. He might live for the whole thing.
Yeah,
but I would. Taylor Sheridan doesn't have a problem killing people off, especially when it's if it's called for. And especially when the time is, in 1883, another spoiler, they killed her off, or we're assuming.
Not till the end.
Yeah.
But,
Theirs was at the,
We thought she might have died just based on the very first clip in the very first episode. That we thought she was going to die earlier, but she didn't. She died not until the very end.
But yeah, John makes a joke to Carter that if you grow a beard, you're fired.
Yeah. He just says, "Okay, yes, sir, no beard."
So they're all headed to the hospital.
Well, he goes out of the barn and they meet him, and he says he's going somewhere there because he's leaving the ranch to go do his governor stuff. And they say, "No, we have to go to Billings." And he was like, "What's in Billings?" And so,
and they all arrive at the hospital and find out that the baby died. It didn't survive the wreck. And at first, you weren't sure if, if Monica was going to survive the way the whole accident, happened.
Yeah. But
find out,
we'd already seen
she's she's laying in the hospital bed, and Tate is sitting out on the bench.
Yeah, with a broken arm.
He's got a broken arm. And that's why he makes a comment that, he had a baby brother for an hour. And then he, says that, his name was John. John kind of is a little shocked by
that they've named him John, and that's pretty much how they ended.
Pretty much,
episode
1. Well, we won't get into episode 2 until
we'll do that in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Before episode 3 comes out, we'll have to do that one.
Definitely, if you haven't watched episode 2, which I imagine if you're listening to this, you watched episode 1, and most people who watched episode 1 watched episode 2.
Yeah, since they were back to back,
If not, go watch it. And also the same day, they released The Tulsa King, which was another one of Taylor Sheridan. He's building an empire right now. And his other show that is not too far off to start, Bass Rutten, is titled 1883. Bass Rutten. So it takes place at the same time that this was happening, because Bass Rutten was the first African American ranger, in that time period. And he's who in real life who they based off of, or the real life bastard is who they based the character, the Lone Ranger, off of. That's who they made him from.
Okay. Didn't realize he was making that. But
Yeah.
okay.
And
when's that supposed to come out? I don't know.
Sometime this next year.
Okay. Another one I gotta just wait.
Yeah, that one, 4/6, because they're doing the spinoff of this one, 4/6 Ranch with Jimmy.
That one I'm really looking forward to. So.
Because I like Jimmy's character.
Yeah, we just watched Jimmy in something else that he was on. He played.
Oh yeah,
Chicago PD. Yeah, I don't know if I think they arrested him. Spoiler if you haven't watched Chicago PD.
Yeah, Taylor Sheridan's pumping the stuff out right now, though. I was listening to an interview with him on something the other day that he was talking about, and that's what they were talking about, him writing and how he got more into writing, less into acting, and because he acted for quite a few, I think he said 20 years before he really got into writing more. He was on Sons of Anarchy. He was the police. He was the sheriff or the police. He was a deputy under Unser.
Yeah.
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah. Well, I assume he'll be on 4/6s a lot because that was where his character came in. So
yeah, he was in 1883. He was in. Imagine he'll write a part for himself in all of them. But he mentioned, because another one of his shows, the Mayor of Kingstown, he talked about when they first come up with the idea for that, and he was kind of pitching the idea, and I guess they were like to write it, and he wrote it in like 8 hours, the whole the pilot.
Wow.
Sat down and then presented it, and then of course they made it into a show. And
I mean, obviously you have to then write script. That was more the idea of here's what I want to do with it.
No, he wrote the script for the pilot episode.
Okay.
Hours.
Well, okay, the one episode. Okay, I understand now. Not the whole show.
No, not the whole show. But
that's pretty fast. 8 hours.
But the way he has to have a whole series in mind when you write that first.
Yeah, you have to
where you're going to take it.
Somewhat, anyway. You could maybe develop it a little bit as you go.
Yeah, and then it turns into
kind of like,
the end.
Well, I guess with Yellowstone, deciding who's going to die and who's not, you can, evolve that as you go, kind of thing. I think you'd have to have a general idea. Well, he probably did. It was about saving the land in Montana, kind of thing.
Right.
That's French. So, and then you go with that of what obstacles they have to face. But
which he talked a little bit about that when he wrote 1883, that he had those 10 episodes in mind, a beginning. Here's the story.
Yeah.
Here's the story
how
we're
they
going to tell.
There. Yeah. Their journey to Montana. I guess that would be his thought.
Well, I think when they came up with the idea to do 1883, they were filming a flashback for Yellowstone. Is when he got
the idea for that.
Tim McGraw to play James in the flashback. He knew there's obviously, we're telling this story, but the idea of all of what happened back then, how it was founded, all that was kind of just an idea. And so they wanted to do a flashback, and he wrote it and loved Tim McGraw so much in the part when they filmed then that's when he come up with the idea to do an entire prequel series. And I think they said that he wrote that entire series in like just a few days.
Wow.
In that interview, that's what he was talking about, that after he wrote Mayor of Kingstown, and I guess just how great that felt, and because it went over really well, the people, that he was, I guess, selling or trying to sell to or showing it to, that's what he said, that he wished he would have took up writing a lot earlier instead of not wasting the first 20 years
right.
of actor. I know. But that's what he said. He was never going to be the leading actor. That's what he said. I'll never be higher than like 10th on the call sheet of a show or series or movie. But he knew that he's more of a supporting actor than a lead role. So but yeah, we will definitely do another episode for episode 2, and and then we'll continue doing episodes for each episode as they come out, and I guess it'll continue for
10.
Every 10.
Isn't it 10?
No,
there's more.
Actually, I think it's 14.
Oh, okay. So
they're
there's
doing
more.
7 and a break.
Okay.
And they're going to do 7 episodes between now, I think, and Christmas, how it'll fall, and then they'll do like probably a 2 or 3 week break.
Okay.
And then through Christmas, New Year's, that part of the holiday.
Okay. Well, the new show starts too somewhere in there. So.
Yeah, because we've only got 5 more before the break, so it would be.
Yeah, that's true. Well, does that mean so that they won't overlap the 2 shows where he's starting the? Yeah, so that one ends when this one, so it will start the same day. Okay.
Yeah, when they do the season mid-break finale, they'll do a cliffhanger small one for that.
Okay.
And then premiere this probably immediately after.
That's a lot of shows in one night.
Yeah, because Tulsa
King is on the same night.
But this is just an hour. Because Tulsa King they did. Tulsa King and 2 hours. Almost 2.5 of this.
That's true. Of this. So it's 3 hours then of but.
And it'll be on Paramount Plus too. Which is, so it'll be Paramount Plus. Tulsa King's Paramount Plus. And Yellowstone is not on Paramount Plus.
Yes.
It's only on regular Paramount on cable, or if you have on cable, you can watch on CMT, MTV, Paramount.
Some people are a little upset if they don't have regular TV and they just went to streaming stuff.
Right.
That,
But you can, I think you can still buy the episodes too on individual on Amazon and Apple.
Maybe. I think it comes out, I don't know what it was, on something else, but it doesn't air when it's live is the problem. It comes out afterwards. So some people can't afford that, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah, because all of these individual streaming, they keep adding up.
Yeah,
everybody,
just a little bit.
Everybody was getting away from it because we didn't want to pay $200 for a cable bill, but now everybody's paying. Add up all your streaming.
Yeah, and a lot of things you do have to still have your regular TV thing to get it or to do certain things like that to watch, and so it's all a scam, but they all work together. So if we missed something though that we didn't, maybe some foreshadowing that
we glossed over a lot of it, and we were all over the place. If you have any theories on anything,
let us know. We'd like to hear them.
Yeah, because I enjoy talking about Yellowstone and pretty much anything Taylor Sheridan puts out. It's usually, I like the way it's written.
Yeah, I haven't watched Mayor of Kingstown, but that's next on my list to watch and before the next season or whatever comes out.
Yeah, I like his writing, along with like Kurt Sutter with Sons of Anarchy. I liked that writing. Yeah. And Kurt Sutter actually has a new show that they just started filming, a new series that he's writing. He's the showrunner on. I guess that's it for today. Be sure and hit that subscribe button down below if you liked what you heard. And turn on that notification bell so you find out as soon as we upload the next video. And we also do other reaction videos for other TV shows. Right now we're going through Modern Family and Superstore. Along with Yellowstone. Yeah. And we might start Tulsa King because I like Tulsa King a lot more than I knew I would like it. It would be all right. I didn't know how well I wasn't sure,
but so far for me, it's not. I'm not as into it just like Yellowstone, but
but
I do like it.
It's a lot. Like I mentioned on the podcast the other day, comparing the two, it's a lot. It's not as dark as some.
Yeah, it's more humor.
Yeah. That everything's not always serious, and you don't feel that that gloom and gloom feeling sometimes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. You never think. I mean, there's definitely violence in it.
Well,
he does a lot of violent things, but it still can come across. He can throw a metal bottle at somebody and knock them out, and it comes across as humorous.
Yeah, and that shouldn't be humorous, but it was.
Right. Oh well, that's all today. But we will see you next time.
Yeah.
So, all right. See you. Bye.
Bye.